The following is not financial advice and is intended for entertainment purposes only. The era of easy money is officially dead and it's not coming back. We've crossed a threshold where the government can no longer print its way out of trouble without setting the house on fire. If you're waiting for things to go back the way they were in 2019, you're essentially waiting for a ghost. Honestly, we've entered the new regime. Well, most people think the market is just a collection of numbers on a screen, but it's actually a complex system. It's a massive ecosystem where interest rates, inflation, and energy prices are all connected like a web. The last few decades, we've lived in the old glory days of quantitative easing, or QE. That's just a fancy way of saying that the central bank was pumping money into the system to keep it afloat. But that story has ended. We're now in a world where debt is too high, inflation is sticky, and the old rules for making money are being shredded in real time. You might have noticed that the market felt a little shaky lately. There was this hope that we were just dealing with a stomach bug. You know the feeling. You throw up all night, you feel like death, but then the next morning you're fine and you're back at work. And that's just how people viewed the recent tariffs and minor panics. They thought that it was just a temporary shock that would pass. But what we're dealing with now is not a stomach bug. It's a chronic cold that has been hanging around for 3 weeks and showing no sign of leaving. This is what we call submission. It's the moment where the market finally realizes that something fundamental has changed. The old reality is gone. Think of it like the first Rocky movie. Rocky is the underdog, and in the first round, he actually knocks down Apollo Creed. He doesn't win the fight right then, but that moment signals that this is going to be a long, brutal, and exhausting battle. That is where we are with oil prices. We've seen oil closing above $90 for 4 weeks straight. This is not a spike, it's a structural change. And when we talk about oil, we have to talk about the Strait of Hormuz. Most people couldn't even find it on a map, but it's the most important choke point in the global economy. Right now, there is a 70% chance of boots on the ground in that region by the end of April. There is only a 30% chance the strait stays fully open. If that passage stays closed, the world changes. We're talking about COVID-level shortages, but for energy instead of toilet paper. We're already seeing the warning signs. Australia and New Zealand are running out of diesel and gas. China has stopped exporting refined products like plastic and chemicals because they want to hoard them for themselves. It's the mask shortage of 2020 all over again, but this time it's jet fuel and polyethylene. In Asia, Cathay Pacific prices jumped 37% overnight. In the past, we dealt with pirates off the Horn of Africa by hiring private contractors to shoot at them. But you can't just shoot a drone out of the sky or stop a sea mine with a guy on a deck. The technology of war has made these shipping lanes incredibly fragile. This means that we're going to have higher oil prices for much longer than anyone wants to admit. This brings us to a massive problem in how people invest. If you own a standard index fund like the SPY, you're essentially betting on a low inflation world. Technology companies make up 53% of that index. Energy and materials, they're only 5% combined. To put that into perspective, Nvidia alone is worth twice as much as the entire energy sector of the S&P 500. This is a huge imbalance. We're entering a period of multiple compression. Now, don't let that term scare you. A multiple is just how much someone is willing to pay for a company's earnings. If a company makes $1 and the multiple is 30, the stock is worth $30. But when inflation stays high, people are not willing to pay those high prices anymore. Multiples come down. In the 1970s, stocks struggled because inflation was high, even if the companies were still growing. The data is pretty clear on this. Between 1933 and today, when inflation is below 4%, the stock market usually gains about 11% a year. But when inflation stays at or above 4%, the market actually loses money. It drops about 1% a year on average. Honestly, we're likely to see inflation hit 5% soon. This is going to be a massive wake-up call for anyone holding a portfolio of expensive software stocks. Software used to be the ultimate moat. A moat is just a business term for something that keeps competitors away. But AI is destroying those moats. Nowadays, an AI startup can go from $0 to $100 million in revenue almost instantly, but they can also be replaced just as fast. This is why the rotation is happening. Investors are moving away from software and towards hardware, commodity, and scarcity. They're looking for real-time liquidity. Most of the world's $900 trillion in assets are illiquid. That means you can't sell them quickly. Real estate, private equity, and endowments are all trapped. When things get ugly, Everyone starts chasing the few things they can actually sell 24/7. This brings us to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the chosen one. It is the only asset that has an immaculate conception story. It was not started by a big corporation or a government. It is a belief system that started with the white paper and has now been accepted by the biggest institutions in the world. It's the ultimate boycott of the central banking system. If you're tired of the government devaluing your hard-earned money by printing more of it, you buy Bitcoin. While the rest of the market has been panicking over the last month, Bitcoin has basically sat between $68,000 and $72,000 every single day. It's acting like a smoke alarm for the global economy. When the old system starts to crack, Bitcoin is where the liquidity flows. It's the fastest horse in the race because it's not tied to a company's earnings or a country's debt. It's just pure, scarce digital energy. Now, some people will tell you Bitcoin is for criminals. That is a tired narrative. Less than 0.1% of cybercrime is related to Bitcoin. In reality, it's a lifeline for people in places like Lebanon or Afghanistan who cannot get their money out of failing banks. It's the first truly global neutral money. The supply is fixed and demand from institutions is just starting. A pension fund is not going to gamble on some random altcoin, but they are finally getting the green light to buy Bitcoin. It's becoming the digital S&P index. It's the base layer of the new digital economy. Well, we're also seeing the rise of stablecoins. In January alone, they traded $11 trillion in volume. This shows the world that we're moving towards a system where money moves at the speed of the internet. It's an agentic world, meaning that AI agents will soon be buying and selling things on our behalf. Those agents are not going to use credit cards or bank wires that take 3 days to clear. They're going to use Bitcoin and stablecoins because they are programmable and instant. So what should you do? Well, you have to realize that the K-shaped economy is getting wider. The people who own assets that benefit from inflation, like Bitcoin, silver, and commodities, are going to do well. The people who are stuck in cash or old-school software stocks are going to get squeezed by rising prices for food, gas, and electricity. We have to accept that we're in a new regime. This is not a temporary dip. It's a fundamental shift in how the world works. The transition to a Bitcoin standard is not some tech trend. It's a necessary evolution. It's about taking back control from a system that is broken and moving towards one that is transparent, fair, and based on math rather than political promises. The next few months are going to be defined by this inflation story, and it will hit Europe and the US just like it is hitting Australia and Asia. But for those who are prepared, for those who have rotated into the fastest horse, this is not something to fear. It's the beginning of a better way to store value of your life's work. It's time to submit to the new reality and build your future on a foundation that cannot be printed away. Honestly, the orange pill is not just an investment strategy. It's a way to opt out of a dystopian financial system and into one that actually works for humanity. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.